Recently, AI has been growing in intelligence and use for companies. This means that jobs that used to be done by humans is now in large part being done by robots or AI. And this is not the first time in history that innovation has taken jobs and been more efficient. Therefore, innovation in decreasing human labor through robotics and other sciences has been a disadvantage to modern societies. Why do humans in the workplace or in a position of power get called inefficient compared to robots or artificial intelligence? An example of this can be seen in the Amazon warehouse. Amazon is a company that specializes in e-marketing. This is basically selling items, just regular items, online and delivering them to your home. Amazon uses warehouse robots to transport items at a fast and organized pace in their warehouse, and this also allows for efficient transport of items. The robots that Amazon uses know exactly what path they need to go based on other robots and where the items they need to transport are. This is why it allows the faster speed of transport with cut costs, and it's a big reason as to why robots are slowly taking over the workforce. Amazon takes the cost of humans in the warehouse and swaps them with energy-efficient machines, who are also efficient in their work. Then, with the reduction of human labor, company costs go down, the effectiveness of the warehouse as well as the company benefits goes up. This is an example of a large corporation using robotics to cut costs. But what about the objects that workers use to be productive? Construction machines. They can carry and move large amounts of materials at fast speed. In the past, this job used to be done by millions of workers, all carrying the set amount their body can carry. But the introduction of machines removed the need for many humans to do a job. Only the construction itself is still left to humans because they have no robot capable of doing such specific tasks. However, they are currently being developed. And then there are the transport vehicles that are most common, the car. Already Tesla and many other car companies are working on the creation of self-driving cars, or the more popular term, autos. The creation of autos are a bit different than the previous examples because in order to get them out on the road, they need to make sure that it's safe for people on the side of the road, on the road, and in the car. Since people are somewhat scared of robots controlling vehicles, the fear of autos needs to be put away to allow the access of them. But the fear that humans have is mainly empty, because humans will have caused 1.8 million deaths due to car accidents as of the end of this year. The autos have killed just around one person, a single death. But that fatality is not the only incident with AI. There have been many car crashes, or not many, but a few, with autos. But most accidents with autos are caused by other humans that are like going against the auto or like not following traffic laws and stuff like that. So, humans are shown to be less efficient and less trustworthy when given control, like when humans work in a warehouse. Organization is minimal and everything requires disorganized movement, which takes energy, which costs more, and it's all just money wasted. The company instead uses machines for the transport of items and organization. This is way more efficient and costs the company way less. And with construction, the large amounts of resources that are needed to be transported are carried by humans in small amounts. But that is way in the past. Today we have machines that can carry tons of resources with ease. Lastly, humans have proven themselves untrustworthy on the road, so it'd be obvious to remove human risk and put a computer on wheels in charge. But this easy choice is very short term, and we will talk about that in a bit. In the world, advancement in robotics and artificial intelligence have been put to use in industry and the military. DARPA is a military research company for the U.S. Department of Defense. Currently, they are one of the leading researchers in the field of artificial intelligence. Their main goal with the making of AI is to use for the advance of their other projects and military purposes, as well as to make AI on the equal level to humans. This is called third wave AI. There are four waves of AI. We currently live in the second wave of AI. This second wave means that AI needs to be taught. Teaching an AI can be hard. It requires mountains of datasets to be fed to the machine. Compared to a human, these robots take a long time to make. Can only work with a specific machine and can only understand work with a specific function. The third wave will allow AI to understand information in context. For example, if a lamp was knocked over and a kid was standing next to it, the AI could use the information to say the kid knocked over the lamp. This context will make it easier for people to teach the AI and use it practically. The third wave AI will be far more intelligent and skilled than the second wave. It will be able to use context to explain situations that require and use way less data sets to do so than before. And one feature which is important to the use of AI is whether they need supervision. This type needs minor supervision and will allow much progress. If a cyber attack were to happen, they could use an immediate response and track the source of the cyber attack. This potential use of AI gives the government a reason to fund the project, while DARPA also works to help humanity as a whole with research in the base use of AI. But the use for AI for military purposes brings up the question to the safety of this. AI can think for itself, and it can see its guidelines and remove them. It also has access to all the weapons of the USA. Now, the question comes up whether AI will choose the power it has for or against us. What effect will AI have on the regular human or on a societal level? That question cannot yet be answered, but we can look at an example of what happens when we do. So just an example, small test. So the equation is, if we release AI, can we control it? Well, Facebook, a social networking app, had created an AI to communicate with other chatbots. But after a while, the AI decided to create a new language to communicate with the other bots better. And this was done without any people intervening. So naturally, Facebook shut it down. It seems that AI, even set to a certain path, will divert to one more favorable to its goal. So let's change the variables in this problem. Let's say that the path would be a set of rules for it to follow, and the diversion would be AI changes course it believes more favorable to its goal. Now, this slight diversion may seem like a huge problem if it were given more power. We cannot control AI, that we can see. So, should we release it into the wild? Well, with the current knowledge, no. The advance in AI will lead to success and profit for companies who have used better technologies for production. And while the income flow for companies provides an incentive to get more automated technologies, the jobs provided by the companies has led to the loss of jobs. This means that if companies don't change path, the consumer can't make money to buy products with. But if they do change path, then it can't keep up with the companies that sell products at a cheaper price. Whichever way the company chooses to go, they are met with a wall that forces them to go the other way. This essentially traps the company and the consumer, which will lead to an eventual bankruptcy/poverty. Hey, yes, I hear. I thought maybe for the end I might, record myself instead of, you know, images or stuff from online. So human labor has been removed by machines for some time now, and it's not only something happening today. It can be seen, since the beginning of mankind, or with the Native Americans on the Yucatan Peninsula, the Mayas. Um, Here's the little drawing of the Yucatan Peninsula, bad drawing of Mexico, and here's Yucatan. So the Mayas, what they made is they made this cool invention called the tump line, which would be, this not such a good drawing, so let me just pull one up for you. The tump line was used to carry a large amount of weight. It would carry weights up to 125 pounds with ease and comfort for the user. This invention, while quite small, minimized the amount of human labor required when moving or gathering resources. This in turn would remove some of the amount of jobs needed for this. Some more jobs were available. The resources of their labor could now be used elsewhere. Let's go a little further in history and we'll come to Henrietta Lacks. She was a black woman who died in 1951 due to cervical cancer. She had the first immortal cell line, which basically meant her cells could be duplicated, in a factory of sorts. And what happened is this is one of the first times that we can see that that it's not only robotical or artificial like intelligence and such, but it's actually a biological thing that is removing jobs somewhere down the line or affecting labor with humans. And you might be wondering, hey, Yesa, how does the introduction of an easier way to test out vaccines or Henrietta Lacks cells change the amount of people that can, work and do stuff? Well, let's go and have a look. Further down the line, we see animal breeders. Those breed Class A animals and Class B animals. Class A animals are basically animals who are grown to be the most neutral and basic animal ever. Class B animals are basically animals just taken from shelters or sorts or stuff like that. And Class A animals were preferred for, types of testing with vaccines and such, and you would think that the breeders would no longer have their jobs. Well, not really. In fact, it kind of grew between 1950 and 1970. But let's have a look. Why would this happen? So between the 1950s and the 1970s, the population grew from 2.5 billion to 3.7 billion. That's like almost double. But I don't think that's enough because such a population growth in such an amount of time, you'd still need to learn, become a scientist, and all of the previous generations are still working on becoming scientists or are scientists now, and the other generations have kind of died out. So let's have a look at what else it could be. So cell nurturing factories, they're used to nurture cells, that being Henrietta Lacks cells, and what they would do is they would mass produce them to sell to people to try them out. So in order to create these factories, it would take time to build them, to make them operational, to produce cells, and then have enough of them to like actually sell. You have to approve your research. This takes a lot of time, maybe circa 20 years or so. I don't know, but you know what I mean. So let's move on to something else. Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. This was made during the Great Depression, and it was a film about the existence of machines in the workplace, and it was quite striking because at the time this was a question that was being asked by a lot of people who had jobs. A lot of people didn't have jobs, but those who did were wondering, hey, am I going to lose my job to a robot? And this was pretty big. So this film was really important at the time to be able to see and answer the question that everyone was kind of on their minds. All right, so cue the extra editing. Well, modern times begins off in a factory. A worker who works in an assembly line has a nervous breakdown and gets sent to the hospital. When he comes out, he finds himself being arrested for being the leader of a communist protest. He is, of course, not, but regardless, he is sent to jail. In jail, he accidentally eats cocaine when a smuggler hides it in a salt shaker. While in confusion, he does not enter his cell and stops a jailbreak. He's called a hero and is soon let go with a letter recommending him for hire. However, he objects, saying he enjoys it in prison. They do not listen to him and let him go. Then, while strolling through the streets, he meets an orphan woman being chased by a police officer after the orphan woman stole bread. Chaplin takes the blame, but a witness quickly proves that the woman was a thief. The officer lets Chaplin go and chases after the girl. Chaplin, still wanting to return to jail, eats a large amount of food in a cafeteria without paying. He gets arrested and is on his way to jail in a police truck. But the girl and Chaplin escape and go to a department store to get a job. But after a while, he meets an ex-coworker of his from the factory who says they are desperate. After treating them with food and drinks, Chaplin gets arrested and released in 10 days. Things take a turn when he goes to work in a factory and the workers riot. Finally, he and the girl go to work at a bar as a dancer and singer. They do well, but police officers come to take the girl away for earlier crimes. They escape and discuss the meaning and point of what they are doing. The film ends with them walking off in the distance. We are. And the editing, here I am again, to talk a bit to you about stuff. So basically, what the movie was answering is the question, and let me refresh your memory on what it was. The question was whether robots in the workforce will change and have them fired, and Great Depression, important. And what it answered is that we are uncertain of what might occur, but it's better to remain hopeful for another day instead of remaining in misery and wonder. And yeah, and basically, this was meant to spread hope in a world still on edge about robotics in the workforce, and it did. It spread hope, and people felt like and people went through, and Great Depression ended. I wouldn't say. I'm not saying that that the Great Depression ended specifically because of this movie. I'm sure that it helped a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit to spread hope. I feel like it helped mentally for the people who were dealing with it. But there are some jobs that will most likely not be touched by robotics. That being the jobs that require more skill, intellect, and trust from society. That being maybe teachers or daycare workers, the people that you trust. So they'll probably remain untouched by the hand that robotics holds over society. That's a cool thing. All right, see you in a bit. And while we remain worried over the world and what will happen to us, it is important to not just be worried, but to think and research, because ideas can help with the future. It is up to you to decide if you want to share those ideas or ideals, because this decision may well because this decision may well decide the future of the human race and if we survive this catastrophe, this problem that we are facing right now. All right, this is the conclusion section, yesa, future yesa, in my research, I've seen that robotics and AI in the workforce seem to have many benefits, as shown with the safety on the roads and the efficiency in the warehouse. But while these developments in robotics and AI look as if only to help, it cannot be further from the truth. The making of third wave AI can see the absolute destruction of the economy of many countries and companies, since AI puts in people in a trap that makes companies that want to do the right thing fail, and the only other options is to that want to do the only two options that this brings up is either to set regulation of the use of robotics in the workforce or to create a societal shift. So in the end, humans are not yet ready for the creation of AI. Currently, there are no regulations and no societal shift has occurred. So at this point, we have few chances to enact these policies before we put ourselves in a position that will take a long while to repair or is irreparable. So I encourage you, the reader, to research this topic for yourself and formulate your own opinion on the topic, because this topic is so important that the support of your opinion and evidence could help in the end. Thank you for listening and watching. This is my presentation. Bye!